Now I'm going to tell you in Chinese what my name is. If you watch the first video, you already know this, but maybe you thought it was too boring, you just skipped ahead. That's fine. 我叫 Nick. 我叫 Nick. My name is Nick. Now 我 you've learned is I, third tone. 叫 J-I-A-O. 叫 is a verb, fourth tone, which means to be called. 我叫 Nick. 你叫 Susan. 你叫 David. If you want to ask somebody what their name is, again, similar to when we asked, "Are you good?" we add a question word, but we don't use the question word "ma." We use the question word "什么," which means what. 什么, that's second tone, fifth tone. 你叫什么? You can also say 你叫什么名字? 名字 means name. So you are called what name? 你叫什么名字? 我叫 Nick. 我的名字叫 Nick. Two ways of saying the same thing. 我叫 Nick. 我的名字叫 Nick. If you want to ask, what is your father's name? 你的爸爸叫什么名字? What is your mother's name? 你的妈妈叫什么名字? 你的哥哥叫什么名字? 你的朋友叫什么名字? All of these words we've already learned, so you should be able to translate those in your head already. So you should ask yourself, 你叫什么名字? You can respond, 我叫 Nick, 我叫 David, 我叫 Susan. Just as a side note in Chinese, so what we've seen so far is pinyin, which are ways to represent Chinese sounds using the English alphabet. But not every English sound can be represented in Chinese, in pinyin or characters. So Nick, for example, ends with a hard k. There's no ending sound hard k in Chinese. So what you usually do in Chinese is you find the closest pinyin to the sounds of a word in English. So if we can't find Nick, we go to 你课 in Chinese, because 课 is an actual word, is pinyin ke. 你课, ni like you, ni. 你课. Susan is Su Shan. David, David. Again, because not every sound in English can be represented in Chinese, we have to find the closest Chinese word to the English. And that's why actually a lot of people have difficulty, Chinese people learning English or English people learning Chinese, is trying to bridge the gap with these sounds that just don't exist in your native language. If I'm an English speaker learning German or French or Italian, most of those sounds have analogues in English, but a lot of Chinese sounds just don't. And what you will find is that there are some sounds that you just won't be able to find a similar word in English to kind of hang your hat on to remember the pronunciation. So 谢谢 is a good example, right? That SY sound, 谢谢, that we use to pronounce the X in the pinyin of 谢, that doesn't really have an analog in English. It's just something you have to learn and get exposed to and listen to 10 or 20 or 30 different speakers to understand how to identify and then how to generate that word, 谢谢. 在 as well, and 再见, goodbye. That z sound, it's not a soft, long z like zebra or zoo in English. It's almost like a tz, 再见. So again, sort of pay attention to these sounds. Don't try and find similar words in English and then pronounce them like you would pronounce the English words. Really listen to the Chinese sounds. And again, this is one really useful aspect of the Incredible Chinese app, is that it will actually play the vocabulary for you in a couple of different voices, and you can really listen to how those sounds are produced. Because, again, a lot of people, when they speak Chinese, not only do they really forget about the tones, and they think they can get away with just one monotone, 我的朋友叫 Su Shan. That's really, really hard on the ears for native Chinese speakers. But then also the sounds and the pronunciation, they try and get away with using English analogues, and it just doesn't work. So really listen to the sounds. And obviously, look, I'm not a native speaker And obviously, I go speak to a Chinese person and they're going to know that I'm not a native speaker. But I have put a lot of work in to try and make it clear for our students to be able to hear the difference in the sounds of 谢谢. And that's why I am slightly exaggerating and really over-enunciating to help you hear these sounds. But it does pay dividends in the long run. So I really recommend you spend the time, just listen to a lot and listen to the sounds they make and experiment with how you put your tongue together, how you put your lips together, how wide you open your mouth, etc., etc. And that will really help you recreate these words accurately.